NGOs and stories of innovation. Now, it is very important that we celebrate each one of these stories. And in order to allow you to be conducted and led through the whole of this panel and understand better and hear the stories with passion and an open heart, I'm going to call up our very capable moderator, Yolanda Perdomo, Director of the UNWTO Affiliate Members Program. Yolanda, the stage is yours. Please take over, and I'm watching the clock, okay, but enjoy. A round of applause, do you mind? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome all. Bienvenidos a todos y muchas gracias por su asistencia. I would like to invite to the stage the finalists of the Award for Excellence and Innovation in Non-Governmental Organizations. Ms. Emmanuelle Werner from Friends International, Cambodia. Mr. Agung Prana from Yayasan Karang Lestari, Indonesia. Mr. Pokharel from Sanrakshak Samuha, Nepal, Sasane. And Dr. Sus Neyman from Children in the Wilderness, South Africa. Thank you all. I am indeed very pleased to see that all these projects that are going to be presented here this afternoon are fully aligned with the UNWTO Global Code of Ethics for Tourism. This is one of the main documents in the World Tourism Organization, and it is one that every affiliate member commits to when they become a member of the organization. For those of you who are not very familiar with this document, it's a comprehensive set of principles designed to guide key players in tourism development. It is addressed to governments, the travel industry, communities, and tourists alike, and it aims to help maximize the sector's benefits while minimizing its potentially negative impact on the environment, cultural heritage, and societies across the globe. There are precisely 2 articles in the code that make clear reference to the scope of the projects that are going to be presented. Article 2 on tourism as a vehicle for individual and collective fulfillment, and Article 5 on tourism as a beneficial activity for host countries and communities. These all show that tourism can make a difference, that tourism provides a meaningful contribution to people's lives and played a positive role in social, economic, and environmental terms. This is the mandate of the World Tourism Organization, and these best practices we are going to learn from today help us to fulfill that mandate by generating know-how, promoting competitive and sustainable tourism approaches, and working to make tourism a significant and effective tool for development. It is a pleasure for me to present these initiatives, and I would like to invite the first presenter this afternoon in this panel, which is Ms. Emmanuelle Werner from Friends International, Cambodia, presenting a project called the Childsafe Movement. Emmanuelle is Swiss and has been working with Friends International since 2009. She started this initiative, which including working on the prevention of child abandonment, supporting the Cambodian government's work on minimum standard for institutions, and designing campaigns on orphanage tourism. In 2013, she opened Friends International first operational office in Europe, and now this office is promoting the Childsafe Movement in Europe, a global movement empowering people to protect children from all forms of abuse. Ms. Werner, please. Thank you so much.
Hello. It is a real honor and pleasure to be here this afternoon. Friends International has been working for the past 25 years with marginalized children and youth, their families and communities. And the idea is to get everybody back on tracks and help those people to become productive citizens of the society. Now, 10 years ago, we established the Childsafe Movement. The reason why we established the movement is because we realized that in the communities we were working with, people did not know how to respond to child abuse. They felt disempowered. There was a strong social stigma attached to the issue of reporting abuses. And more importantly, they expected NGOs to protect their own children. So we felt it was not quite right. We felt it was not quite sustainable. And we felt it was really important to build the capacity of community people to protect their own children. So the way we are working in communities, yeah, no? Someone does, okay, never mind. The way we are working in communities, we are going into communities and we are identifying and training key people in the communities about how to recognize child abuse and how to respond to it. And then we are certifying those people and they become child-safe agents. Now, these people can be anyone. They can be tuk-tuk drivers, they can be street sellers, they can be village chiefs, parents, teachers, but there are also staff of local businesses, such as restaurants and hotels. And these people are really the ears and the eyes of the Childsafe movement on the ground. Now, 10 years ago, a lot of tourists were coming to us in Cambodia. A lot of tourists were coming to us, and they also felt disempowered when facing, children in distress, children in the streets. They wanted to help, but they did not know exactly what they could do. At the same time, the tourism industry was developing some new products it was more about getting a real experience, getting to know the locals, going into villages, going into orphanages to help to help children. So we felt it was really important to raise awareness of tourists and travelers about child protection issues, but also how to make sure that your behavior is actually not harming children, despite your good intention, despite your best intention. How to make sure that you're actually helping children. So this is why we developed 7 tips for travelers. And those tips are covering a range of issues. The tips are designed to protect children from all forms of abuse. So we're talking about, how to behave when you're facing children begging in the streets, children working, children, sexually exploited. How to make sure that that you're actually helping children. Based on those 7 tips, we developed specific campaigns on issues we felt deserved specific attention. So, for example, the Children Under Tourist Attraction was developed in Cambodia in 2011. And in Cambodia, it really came as a response to a phenomenon, orphanage tourism, that was already quite prevalent. But in other countries where it's not yet a big issue, it's a really important preventive tool. So our work is really about creating behavior change. And it is a long-term work, and it's quite an enormous work. So we really need to engage with the travel industry. This is not something that we can just do on our own. So what's the role for the tourism industry? The tourism industry can help us by promoting our messages, promoting our 7 tips, for example, to their staff and customers, but also promoting the services of our Childsafe agents, promoting the services of our Childsafe hotels and our Childsafe restaurants. But the tourism industry can also make sure that the products they are selling are not harming children. Make sure that they are not selling, for example, visits in shelters and visits in orphanages. And also make sure that in their marketing strategy and in their communication strategy, they are respecting the dignity of the child. So what we're trying to achieve here is by using this, what we call win-win-win approach, we're trying to reach this virtuous circle, something that is good for business, that is good for children, and that is good for communities. Here is just a few examples of the companies we have been engaging with. So, travel agencies, airlines, airports, guidebooks, hotels, anyone can participate in the Childsafe movement. The Childsafe movement is a global movement. So it started in Southeast Asia, but it is expanding. It's expanding in Europe and in other parts of the world. And the message I want to get across here is that anyone, anywhere, can join the movement and help us adapt it to its own context. So I would like to finish by encouraging you to join the movement, because it is really by working together that we'll be able to protect children worldwide. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Werner. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Agung Prana from Yayasan Karang Lestari, Indonesia, presenting the project on Coral Reef Reborn. Mr. Prana has been the pioneer ecotourism leader in Bali's undeveloped Northwest, one of the island's poorest area. Today is an active director of the Bali Tourism Board, Indonesian Association of Travel Agents chapter in Bali, and Bali Tourist Attractions and Destinations Board, in charge of environmental concerns and cultural heritage sites. Mr. Prana founded Karang Lestari Reef Restoration Foundation, which is the project he's going to present right now.
In the year 1988, the coastal village Pemutaran in Indonesia was in a state of environmental catastrophe. The coral reef in the lagoon was totally damaged, and the fishermen community living desperate and poor. The only key possible effective tool to rehabilitate the potential of the environment is a living application of a community-based ecotourism destination. The project proceeded well, and the natural environment transformed into a beautiful living landscape. The coral reef successfully reborn with one of the richest coral reef diversity in the world, which made Pemutaran become a tourism destination of choice of all markets. Pemutaran now is the inspiration of many villages, many islands, many countries. Thank you. Can I stand up?
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today I'm so happy to present you the location of our project. It's a coastal village Pemutaran, Buleleng Regency, Northwest Bali Island in Indonesia. Our project is a model of best practices of a community-based sustainable ecotourism development to be and believe as an effective tool for conservation of our mother nature and culture. The initial outstanding achievement of our project is a major transformation of livelihood in the community from environmental disasters into a destination of choice of tourism, from desperate community into participative attitude. The rich living landscape of culture and nature, especially our coral reef, reborn with one of the richest coral reef diversity in the world. This made the fishermen catch in our village drastically increase. But then the question now is, what is the key for us to achieve this goal? The key is really, according to my experience, is the community awareness and the community participation. But how to encourage them to be aware and participative? This is the real challenge. To deal with desperate communities is not easy. In the beginning, I was suspected and blamed, spit at me. But then, this is my passion. This is my passion with social culture and spiritual approach, bringing hope, bringing new hope for the community, open their heart and open their mind. Empowering the community to encourage their spirit of togetherness. In the spirit of togetherness, to share one common interest and one common goal. And also in the spirit of togetherness, all the stakeholders between the community, the government, social entrepreneurs and scientists should be in collaboration and synergy. Joint effort to stop all this destructive attitude. And then joint effort to rehabilitate the potential resources to be a living landscape of nature and culture. Within those landscapes we have in the lagoon, the coral reef, newly reborn. And then we stimulate the growth of the coral reef by application of special technology of bio-rock 6 times faster. This developing to be an amazing marine park with very rich biodiversity and a very valued selling point of world tourism. Then our village is developing to be very special interest, world tourism destination. And this also provide benefit with trickle-down multiplier effect. Economically, cultural and social welfare. Business opportunity is the new income center and income stream for the community. There are 2,500 villages employed in the tourism industry. And then we also committed small-scale business reserved for the benefit only the local people to maintain the togetherness. And therefore, our village, our lagoon, is now the inspiration of many villages, many islands, and many countries. And also, our village is now destination education of international school, university, and also what I'm doing in spirit of togetherness. We are recognized to be one of the 28 world social entrepreneurs to change the future of the planet. And also we are honored to receive many awards, 23 awards internationally. Among all, we received Pata Gold, We received the Equator Prize from UNDP and also Millennium G20. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is Mr. Shyam Kumar Poharel. Mr. Poharel, he is from Samrakshak Samuha Nepal, Sasane, and the project is called Sisterhood of Survivors SOS Program. Mr. Poharel is the director, legal advisor of Sasane. He has an experience of 20 years in the field of women's rights as well as human trafficking. He has carried out research projects including the study on male trafficking prisoners with a special reference to human trafficking in Kathmandu Valley and labor trafficking in Nepal. He, with survivors of human trafficking, have founded Sasane in 2008 and handed over the leadership to its women members in 2008. Thank you so much.
Every year, as many as 7,000 women and girls are trafficked into Nepal's sex industry. Sasani is a non-profit organization committed to helping survivors of sex trafficking. It trains survivors to become certified paralegals, empowering them to find justice for themselves and for others. The women become leaders in their communities, ones with job skills and the will to make a very real difference. G-Adventures travelers in the region visit Sasani to meet the women and learn from them how to prepare traditional Nepali dishes. Funds from these visits are reinvested into Sasani's education programs to help continue empowering survivors to make a difference in their own lives, in the lives of others, and in turn, ours.
We believe that survivors ourselves have immense potential to combat the exploitation of Nepalese women and girls and to create social change. Our idea can protect, help them to fight for justice, reintegrate in society, and help them to survive. They can use our idea and it will end human trafficking.
Our organization believes that every human trafficking survivors can achieve her individual's dream and potential. And the Nepal is the human trafficking problem-based issues country, and according to the Human Rights Commission of Nepal's 2013, 250,000 to 270,000 Nepalese are presently trapped into slavery. But human trafficking problem is not only in Nepal, that is a global issue. So human trafficking now is the second largest crime in the every world, and human trafficking crime is increasing day by day everywhere. And victims are mainly teens, and they are 12 to 19 years old in Nepal. Every day, approximately 54 Nepalese women and children are trafficked from Nepal. And the girls and women in rural areas with little or no access to education, low income, and lack of awareness of their legal rights are most vulnerable. For reducing the causes of trafficking, we introduced the SOS program with the support from Planetera Foundation and G-Adventure. And these programs train girls for employment opportunity in the tourism industry in Nepal, which include conversation English, culinary skills, customers engagement, accounting, food and beverage management, and certified trekking and tourist guide. In their initiative, the survivor also launched a new programs when they give a cooking class of Nepali food to the guests from G-Adventure. Gangphedi, the rural mountain village, Nuakut, near the Lamtang National Park in Nepal, is regarded to be one of the trafficking-prone villages of Nepal, highlighting the scenic beauty of the village. Sasane introduced the 5-day trekking program in Gangphedi. Priority given to the local Tamang lifestyles and the traditional Nepali food, travelers given the opportunity for sightseeing and interaction with the local village. Local village given the opportunity to earn, low risk of missing persons and case of trafficking. And these programs joined us in our fight against the human trafficking. Our president, Indira Gurung, says the only way for us to become empowered is if we learn our legal rights and gain marketable skills. Thank you.
Now I would like to present Ms. Sue Snyman. Her organization is called Children in the Wilderness. The project is called Children in the Wilderness Program, and it is a project from South Africa. Susan Snyman has a PhD from the University of Cape Town. The focus of her PhD research was on the socio-economic impact of high-end ecotourism in remote rural communities adjacent to protected areas, based on over 1,800 1,800 community service in 6 southern African countries. Sue joined Wilderness Safaris in 2008, bringing with her over a decade of experience in the ecotourism industry in southern Africa. She is currently Group Community Development and Cultural Manager, as well as Regional Director of Children in the Wilderness.
Umhlaba wami, umhlaba wakho, umhlaba wethu sonke. Umhlaba wami, umhlaba wakho, umhlaba wethu.
We must take care of everything that lives next to us. It can be tree, it can be animal, it can be whatever.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and to present our project. Children in the Wilderness's logo or slogan is Sustainable Conservation Through Leadership Development. We are an NGO, an independent NGO associated with Wilderness Safaris, which is a private ecotourism company. And our belief as a company is that ecotourism is not going to survive without community support and goodwill. And so a huge part of what we do is trying to encourage communities to understand conservation and tourism, and that is what our Children in the Wilderness program is about. So just to give you an overview of the structure of the program briefly so that you can have a better understanding of what we're involved in. The biggest part of our program is eco-clubs, which we run in schools in 6 countries. So we work in Botswana, Namibia, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa, working with the schools and the education system to have weekly environmental clubs to get children to have an understanding of environmental conservation and the reason for its importance. From there, we run annual camps. So Wilderness Safaris, as an ecotourism business, closes their business to paying guests, and children from the communities come and stay as tourists in the camps. These children are selected from the eco clubs based on environmental and social projects that we run with the eco clubs and the students that have performed the best. And the idea with the camps is that the children from these very rural villages can get an understanding of tourism, so that they can understand why it is that tourists are coming to their country, and therefore the importance of conserving the areas for the tourists. We recently started a youth environmental stewardship program, which is for older children. So the eco clubs are for grades 4 to 7, environmental stewardship for 7 to 10. And the idea with that program is to empower youth and the leaders of the community. So originally our program focused on disadvantaged children, orphans. It still does, but we've also included a lot of the chief's children, the headmen of the village's children, because we realized that they will be the leaders of those villages and those communities in the future. And it's very important that they have an environmental understanding and do understand tourism and conservation. So that particular program focuses very much on communication, team building, and leadership skills. Then throughout all of the steps, we do eco-mentor and teacher training. What we found in Southern Africa is that schools have introduced environmental education, but no one has empowered the teachers to teach it or given them knowledge. So we have a 3-year curriculum, an eco-club curriculum book, which gives detailed lessons on how to run the lessons. And we also are currently developing a 3-year environmental stewardship program. So essentially, by the end of this year, we will have a 6-year curriculum that can be run anywhere in any school, along with an eco-mentor training to upskill the teachers. Eco-mentors, we use Wilderness Safari staff or other community members, as well as the teachers. But we have found that the teachers often have an overload of work in these rural schools, so we try and empower other community members. So the analogy we like to use is that when you throw a stone in a pool of water, that's our eco-mentor training, and the ripples that go out are as the teachers teach more and more children in the communities, they can go out. Then we have a scholarship program, because we had a lot of children in our eco clubs who were doing very well academically, but their parents couldn't afford to send them onto secondary school, which you have to pay for in Southern Africa. And so we've identified those children who are potential leaders to ensure that they do complete their education. Then we have an internship program where we realized as well that children, finishing school doing well, but they had no experience and therefore couldn't get a job. So we have an internship program that we can then put the children through to get careers. Through all of this, we started a lot of new initiatives. We realized that so as not to lose focus on our program of environmental education, we had to work with other partners to grow the program and enhance it. So we started what we call adult eco clubs, because we realized all our children were going home and telling their parents about all these fantastic environmental concepts, but the parents didn't understand them. So we've started with a lot of the parents in the schools, adult eco clubs, which also focus on diversifying livelihoods and reducing poverty. And we found that with the parents assisting the eco clubs in the schools and the children assisting their parents, there's also been a great cultural exchange of ideas about cultural tourism that can be passed on to the children, which we found was being lost in a lot of the areas. Then we have a Soccer in the Wilderness program, where we have an ex-professional football player who runs clinics in the village to try and bring together the healthy body, healthy mind, healthy environment, and grow respect for your body, your family, your community, your school, and then the environment. Then we have a bicycle program, because a lot of the children in our areas couldn't get to school because of transport issues and walking 5 to 10 kilometers to school. So we've partnered with an NGO who distributes bicycles, and we run those. We don't ever hand out bicycles, we do eco club projects, and the winners of the particular projects or competition receive bicycles. Then we recently partnered with UNWTO, which is an Australian NGO, on a literacy program, because that was another thing we found, that trying to teach environmental education when a lot of our pupils didn't have basic literacy was a problem. So we've started where the children are actually writing African children's stories about their culture, about their communities, and then it gets published in a little book, which then gets given to the school so the children can practice reading their own stories and also have something published. And then along with that, as school infrastructure partners, we partner with various NGOs in Southern Africa to enhance infrastructure of schools, because we found children were having to have lessons under trees, and if it was raining, there was just no school, and so we try and work with those partners. So the idea with the whole NGO is to work with a number of partners who are good at what they are doing, and so as long as we keep our core focus and can enhance the program all along. Thank you very much for your time.
We still have 10 minutes, and I would like to ask a question to our panelists. I would like to know if we have a microphone so that we can have a short discussion. Thank you so much. I'm gonna ask two things in one so that we do a round of answers. I'm gonna ask you first, what has been your greatest challenge when you were putting together your projects? And then, what was your main contribution? What others can learn from you? What can inspire others? And what can perhaps we in UNWTO can learn from you to put together a sort of a methodology that can be applied elsewhere?
Okay. I think that for us, when we started the Childsafe Movement, at the time, the tourism industry, when we were talking about child protection, was very much focusing its attention to sexual exploitation of children, which of course is an extremely important issue. But it took us some time to draw its attention to the importance of protecting children from all forms of abuse. And it means that we're not only going after the abusers, but it means that every one of us has a responsibility to protect children while traveling. When we go, just on holidays, on vacation, and we're seeing children in the streets, we just need to think about, will I contribute? Will I be making a long-lasting, positive contribution if I give money to this child or not? So am I actually, harming this child? So it has taken us some time to put, to draw attention to the importance of protecting children from all forms of abuse. But now we've succeeded, and the Childsafe Movement is a vibrant movement. And now we do have a lot of tour operators and travel agencies who are coming to us because they want to be part of the movement and they want their staff to be trained. And to be able to protect children and to be able to pass on the words to their customers. And I think that what we like at Childsafe, we like to engage with others, with NGOs, with the corporate sector, with companies. Our model is flexible, it can be replicated to any countries, to any set of issues. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to working together, because it's really by working together that we'll be able to accomplish much more.
Thank you. Thank you. I think our main challenge in the area that we are developing, number one is our infrastructure. Our village was isolated, remote area. And number two, the community there moving away from the volcanic eruptions. Everything is so limited. I would say desperate poverty. And then the awareness about the environment, about the tourism is very limited. This is the main challenge, that I have to do it with passion, encouraging, educating, empowering the community. So the challenge is, again, infrastructure. In the beginning, when we built the hotel, we had no electricity, no telephone, nothing. But we are blessed. It's like a dream. Building in the middle of nowhere, suddenly the tourism emerged. And without electricity, it's like a dream. And also, I started the development encouraged by dream. So again, our main challenge is the community awareness, participation, because of everything is too limited. And now with our passion, we could encourage by social and cultural approach. So we can open their heart and open their mind to understand about tourism, to understand about environment. We even spend our own pocket money to hire 10 buses to bring the community leaders to the center of tourism, to open their mind what tourism is. That's the main thing. But our special inspiration, that what we have done to achieve the goal, is everything should be community-based
empowering the community, encouraging the community. Everything should be done by a passion of social entrepreneurship. You have to be ready and consistent to do it for the community and then to share the benefit. There's no greediness there. Spirits of togetherness, sharing one common interest and common goal, and then sharing the benefit together. And then, like myself, I began with nothing. I was not a rich man, but I made, like a dream, I made Pemutaran develop to be a destination of choice, of very special interest. If you find in the internet or in our destination, you will not find any hustling hawkers. The place is so peaceful and quiet. The nature is now very beautiful and green, living landscape of nature. And the community are in full support now because they are receiving the benefit with multiplier effect. So again, the key, somebody has to be with social entrepreneurship. Devotion, work together with the community and empowering them. Empowerment is education, adopting local wisdom, also enforcing the local law that we call awig-awig, and also empowering the local security system that we call pacalang. This has been very effective to guard the coral reef on day-to-day basis. And now, I should share with you, if anybody come to our area, stealing, catching fish by destructive way, all the men of the village will come out with sword ready to fight. So this is something to inspire. Thank you.
Just imagine one sex trafficking victim rescued from brothels, and if they don't have a choice and support, where they can go. And we are bringing that victims and provide them first justice, and then again we launch them to employment in tourism industries. That is very hard and very difficult. I think the tourism industries is the medicines, the victims who forgot their trauma. He engage, communicate, work with the travelers. They do best, and they think in the bright futures, in the future. So it is very hard, but if we can do, that's easy. But now we are working in the one community in mountain village. We have a 4,432 vulnerable community. We want to reach theirs, and we want to make more trekking guide and tourist guide for human trafficking survivors. Then slowly, automatically, the human trafficking crime will be decreased by human trafficking survivors through human trafficking survivors. Thank you.
Thank you. I think our biggest challenge initially, and still is, human-wildlife conflict. So communities experience a lot of negative consequences of conservation and tourism. And you know, an elephant coming and eating your food stores for the whole year is not going to make you very pro an elephant. And so the biggest challenge is still to try and get communities to understand the value of that elephant. And that's why we do a lot of our environmental education, so that they can understand that by shooting an elephant now, you may get X amount, but if a tourist comes to see that elephant for 20, 30 years, up to 60 years, how much more money your community can get. Another big challenge was, as I mentioned, the literacy in the schools. We found we were trying to teach the children about environmental education, but they couldn't read and write basic English. And so that was the reason for partnering with a lot of literacy programs. I think that one of our main reasons for success is that we have an ecotourism company like Wilderness Safaris who supports us in terms of administration and logistics, and also guests get exposed to children in the wilderness, so we do receive funding through that. I think partnering with other NGOs has been a really beneficial thing which we've done in the last 5 years or so, and has helped us to expand the program a lot more and grow it in a way that has enhanced it a lot. Just to give you a very quick example of how the program really broadens horizons. So a lot of the children that we deal with, the only careers they know are a teacher, a policeman, and so they don't know a lot of different careers. So by bringing them into the lodges, they can see that they can become a guide, a manager, involved in tourism. And we had one young boy in Botswana. We have to fly the children in small planes into the camps in the Okavango Delta. And the one boy sat next to the pilot and was totally enthralled because his house was right near the airstrip in Maun in Botswana. And he used to watch these planes going over his house every day and was just wanted to know about flying one. And so when he sat next to the pilot, he said, one day I want to be a pilot. And on the way out of camp, he sat next to the pilot again. And that boy is now a pilot. As soon as he finished school, he went and was sponsored to study and is now a pilot flying light aircraft in the Okavango Delta. So just something like that to see how, not having an understanding of what is out in the world in terms of jobs, that is really, given people an experience and something where they can grow a lot.
I would like to thank you, all of you. We at UNWTO, we always talk about the benefits of tourism. I think these are tangible examples of tourism being a force for good. I think there are several ideas here. I think of high moral principles. I think of long-term projection, which is quite rare. You put it that way, you talk about long-lasting positive contribution, which I think is perfect description. I think it makes us feel very proud of being part of this sector. And I would like to finish, we also talk a lot about public-private collaboration in UNWTO, especially in the affiliate members program, because that's a key factor to any project nowadays. I think, and I hope, that this spirit of togetherness you were mentioning before also becomes a primary element in this sector. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much for your presentations.